Welcome to our journey through time. Today we're going to explore how the ancient Romans created the calendar system that we still use today. You might be wondering, what does a calendar created 2,000 years ago have to do with us? Well, you're about to find out that the Romans have been influencing your daily life in ways you never imagined. Let's start at the very beginning. The earliest Romans used a lunar calendar system that followed the phases of the moon. This calendar had 13 months in one year, and each month started when people could see the very first sliver of the new moon in the sky. But there's a problem. This system didn't match the solar year. While the Earth takes 365 and a quarter days to orbit the sun, the lunar calendar is about 11 days shorter each year. Because of this, every 3 years, the calendar was a month off. After 18 years, the calendar would be backwards, with the winter months in the middle of the summer. The early Romans had a special connection to the number 10, which they considered godly and perfect. According to legend, Romulus, the first king of Rome, created a new calendar with exactly 10 months. Each month had exactly 30 days. Simple and easy to remember. The first 4 months were named after important Roman gods. Mars for March, Aphrodite for April, Maya for May, and Juno for June, while the next 6 months were simply numbered, probably because they planned to name them after important events later. But let's do some math here. How many days are in a solar year? That's right, 365.25 days. And how many days is this calendar? 300. The calendar was more than 2 months short. This created a huge problem. It didn't take long before Saturnalia, the Roman winter festival of feasting and dancing, was being celebrated in the middle of summer. The calendar was completely out of sync with the seasons. At first, the Romans tried a simple solution. They just added a random number of days to the end of the year, and then they started over again in the spring. But this got confusing fast. How many extra days? When exactly did spring start? Eventually, they decided to add 2 new months to the end of the year. They added January, named after Janus, the two-faced god of beginnings and endings, and February, which was meant to be a short, flexible festival month of 2-3-ish weeks. February is the god of purification and renewal. Okay, so now the calendar has 12 months. Problem solved, right? We're not there yet. Here's where things get really messy. After adding the 2 new months, Roman politicians realized they could vote to make months longer or shorter whenever they wanted. They would extend months to give themselves longer vacations or shorten them to get favorable election results. The calendar became completely unreliable. Nobody was completely sure what month it was, let alone what day. When Julius Caesar takes power, his goal is to fix the damage done to the government by corruption and to stabilize the economy. He is firm that part of this fix is that everyone needs to agree on a predictable calendar. He implements a major calendar reform that moved January and February to the beginning of the year, as shown here. This meant Saturnalia, which is supposed to be at the end of December, would fall on the first day of winter, and the new year would begin in January instead of March. This changed the Roman calendar from a lunar calendar to a solar calendar. Caesar also established the alternating 30-31 day pattern for most months, not counting February. He made February longer than it had been before, but it was still shorter than the rest. He consulted with astrologers who explained that the Earth took 365 and a quarter days to travel around the sun. Because of their advice, his calendar would add an extra day to February every 4 years to make up for that extra 1/4 day. This is where we get leap year. But here's something interesting. When January and February get moved to the front of the year, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10 months all get pushed back. Remember that the word October means the 8th month? Because of Caesar, it is now the 10th month of the calendar. After Julius Caesar dies in 44 BCE, his supporters vote to change the name of Quintilis in his honor, because that's the month when he was born. So we now call this month July, after Julius Caesar. Following a long civil war, Caesar's adopted son became emperor and called himself Caesar Augustus. Augustus decided he needed his own month also, so he claimed the month that came after Caesar's month. So now we call the next month August. But there's a problem here. Augustus wants his month to be just as long as Julius Caesar's 31-day month. He felt that having a shorter month named after him implied he was somehow not as great as Caesar. So he stole a day from February, and then he put it here to make his month now 31 days long. Of course, that puts 3 31-day months in a row, and now our calendar is 1 day too long. So then he switched the number of days for the last 4 months like this. So now we have that repeating pattern of 31 days, 30 days, 31 days, 30 days. Except that there are 2 31s in a row in July and August, and February is extra short at only 28 days. Believe it or not, we still use almost the exact same system that Caesar and Augustus created. We still use the same number of days for each month. We still add a day to February every 4 years, and we still follow that 30-31 alternating pattern. But here's the coolest part. After Augustus, nobody bothered changing the names of any more months. So September, October, November, and December are still named after the Latin numbers for 7, 8, 9, and 10, even though they're now the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th month. Every time you say these month names, you are speaking a little bit of ancient Latin. So the next time someone asks what the Roman calendar has to do with you, you can tell them that every single day you're using a system created by ancient Romans over 2,000 years ago. From Julius Caesar's leap year to Augustus stealing a day from February, the Romans shaped how we measure time itself.